Are you trying to make up your mind between two perfectly good options, and somehow both of them now feel like a trap? Welcome to Gemini season, where the mind becomes a courtroom. Every thought has a rebuttal, and the jury is still out. Today we're continuing our Gemini season journey through the suit of swords. We started with the Eight of Swords. Now we step into the second decan, Mars in Gemini, and the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords corresponds to Mars in the second decan of Gemini, specifically 10 to 20 Gemini. That's the middle decan, lasting 10 days as the sun travels through it, approximately June 1st to 10 each year. The Golden Dawn title is the Lord of Despair and Cruelty. In the Thoth deck, it's simply called Cruelty. But before we enter the Nine of Swords, we need a map. The 8, 9, and 10 of Swords are not isolated cards. They are a sequence, a progression of the Gemini mind through the suit of swords. And swords represent the workings of the mind itself, how we think, communicate, and analyze. In Gemini, the mind wants to separate and dissect one idea from another in the search for meaning. This is the research brain. It is brilliant and restless. Gemini compares thoughts and words and is always looking for the truth hidden between contradictions. In the Eight of Swords, Gemini analyzes too many options. In the Nine of Swords, the tension between those options becomes agonizing, and in the 10 of Swords, the thinking process reaches its end. One path is chosen, and the other choices die. So today, we are standing in the middle of that sequence. We are standing in the Nine of Swords. Have you ever felt stuck between choices that simply cannot be reconciled? Two valid paths, both calling to you, with no clean way forward without loss or sacrifice? That tension, that unending drive for truth when options refuse to reconcile, is exactly where the Nine of Swords lives when Mars lights up Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the messenger, the analyst, and the great intermediary between ideas. In the tarot, Gemini is linked to the Lovers, historically a card of choice. The Lovers represents duality, the yes and the no, the road taken and the road abandoned. This is why Gemini is symbolized by twins, two perspectives, two competing realities. But Gemini is not only the sign of talk or cleverness. That popular image captures part of Gemini, but it overlooks a deeper dimension. Gemini is mutable air. It engages with the world through the realm of mind, taking in ideas and giving expression to the thoughts that emerge within a particular moment of history. This is why Gemini can show up so strongly in poets, thinkers, and esoteric writers. These are the people who seem to catch the atmosphere of their time and give it words. They are receiving and translating a mental or collective current into language. And this makes sense when we remember Mercury's dual nature. Mercury is not just the planet of speech. Mercury is the messenger between realms, moving between heaven and earth, conscious and unconscious, spirit and mind. So Gemini at its higher octave is not superficial. It is receptive intelligence. It is the mind as antenna. It is the ability to pick up what wants to be thought, written, or named. And that matters here, because when Mars enters this receptive mental field, the impressions do not stay soft or abstract. They become sharp and argumentative. Sometimes cruel. This is where the famous Gemini talk gets weaponized. It looks like the debater determined to win, the attorney ruthlessly cross-examining a witness, the editor cutting unnecessary paragraphs. Mars doesn't sit around worrying about feelings. Mars sees what needs doing and does it. Fast, decisive, sometimes brutal. When these two forces collide here, the result can be devastatingly cruel, especially when that cruelty turns inward on the self. So how does this cruelty actually show up? It's rarely loud physical violence. It is the cruelty of judgment without mercy, critique that strips you to the bone, turning every word, choice, and imperfection into evidence against yourself. Mars drives forward without hesitation. Gemini supplies the words and the microscope. Together they create mental torture, the mind replaying conversations, assigning blame, and refusing to rest. Here's a vivid real-world picture of this energy. Imagine a sharp-tongued colleague, boss, or family member with strong Mars in Gemini flavor. They don't mean to be mean, they just tell it like it is. In a meeting or at the dinner table, they dissect someone's work, appearance, or life choices with quick, precise words.
That idea won't work. Here's why. You're always late because you don't plan. That outfit ages you.
Mars in Gemini energy gets results. Deadlines are met, but the emotional wake may be full of quiet despair. Now flip this energy inward. This is where the Nine of Swords really lives. It's 3 a.m., your mind is armed with Mars and won't shut off.
Why did I say that? They must think I'm ridiculous. I should have handled it differently. I'm always too much or not enough. Everyone else has it together. What's wrong with me?
Judgment, critique, analyzing. No pause for kindness. Mars is on a mission, and your feelings are just in the way. The swords are all in your own head, and they keep striking. If you were born during this decan, roughly June 1st through June 10th, this card can describe your birthday personality. But it also matters if you have your rising sign or a major planet between 10 and 20 degrees of Gemini. The rising sign shows how you meet the world, while planets here express through this sharp, restless Mars in Gemini field. So this is not just about birthdays. It marks any place in the chart where the mind must learn to use its sword with precision, not cruelty. On the light side, you can have tremendous executive ability and strong personal force. You have an alert social sense, quick reactions, and an infectious energy. You are a lover of action. If you were born here, or have a rising here, you like movement and conversation. You are at your best in the midst of change, ideas, and people. You can be generous and ready to help when someone needs them. But remember, this is Mars in Gemini, so the same force that makes you stimulating and useful can also become restless, irritable, and headstrong. On the shadow side, you can become so hungry for action and stimulation that you lose discrimination. You may choose the wrong friends or follow every outside suggestion. You may use that Martian energy to leap into activities before they have really thought them through. Your reactions move fast, but fast is not always wise in the realm of the mind. Out of balance, you can go to extremes. Your delightful, inspiring side can become overbearing and bossy, absolutely sure you are right and everyone else is wrong. And this is one of the real dangers of any Mars cycle. Until balance is achieved, Mars in Gemini can destroy its own happiness and disturb the happiness of others. The discipline here is learning how to interrupt the Martian loop of weaponized words directed at yourself or others. The antidote begins at the level of mental clarity. Simple breathing practices and conscious handwork interrupt the Mars in Gemini mental loop before it has time to fracture the emotional self. By restoring even a small amount of mental steadiness and presence, these tools prevent the thoughts from escalating into full emotional collapse. Not researching 25 kinds of breathwork, just breathing. Deep breathing, daily breathing, slowing the nervous system down before the sword comes out of the mouth. And because Gemini rules the hands, lungs, arms, and nervous system in medical astrology, working with the hands is also powerful medicine. Write, cook. Garden, paint, stretch the fingers, be gentle in your handwork, and allow the Martian impatience to soften. For Gemini too, the card is a warning. Keep the best side of your tempestuous mentality uppermost, and sometimes the best thing to say is nothing at all. Use the Mars force for action and clear communication, not for mental cruelty or word warfare. When this personality is balanced, Mars in Gemini becomes friendly, stimulating, and fun. But when it is unbalanced, the sword turns inward and outward at the same time. Mutable air means you do not have to stay stuck. You can pivot. The cruelty of Mars in Gemini can be alchemized into clean, decisive action, and this leads us directly to the next decan, the Ten of Swords. In the 10, the thinking process reaches its inevitable end. One road is chosen, the others are abandoned. Something dies, but something also clears. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more decan deep dives, tarot wisdom, and astrology that actually helps you live it. Remember, your mind is a powerful sword. Learn to wield it with wisdom, not against yourself. And remember, the sun always comes up after the darkest mental night.